In this video, you will know about one of the most important things, that is the reason behind every improvement and progress we see in our society. And why that is so important. You will know how you can make this world healthy, wealthy, and wise. Coming up. Technology has changed the world. As Ethan Siegel says, a person born today can expect to survive childbirth, infancy, childhood, adolescence, adulthood, middle age, and live well off to their 70s or longer. They can expect to live healthy, active, and well-nourished lives, and to live those lives largely disease-free. They can expect to live those lives in temperature-controlled homes where heating and cooling is sufficient, and to communicate with anyone on earth nearly instantaneously at any time, and to access full suite of information that humanity has ever gained in real time. They can expect for the technologies that were mere dreams 50 years ago to be realities today, and for many of the technologies that appear to be dreams today to become realities in their lifetimes. Wow! You might not realize this, but we live in an amazing world today. Humans have come a long way since the dawn of mankind, branching out as a different species and millions of years of evolution. And the reason I said this is because I want to ask you a question. What do you think is the reason that we have improved our lives so much? What's the underlying real factor for all this advancement? What is the reason behind this human progress? When I asked this question to some of my friends, a few of them said great kings, someone said religion. They named some famous historical figures and picked particular names from history. And I said, kings? Really? Your so-called great kings were just a bunch of rich people with too much power. That's what they are. And by the way, those people still exist today. They are just not called kings anymore. History is obsessed with rich and powerful people. And that says a lot about us, but that's a topic for another time. Now, what about religion? The short answer is, just like your favorite kings, religion has zero contribution to scientific progress. Some religious people might not agree on this point, but it is true. Let me clarify here. Yes, some people who were religious at the time contributed to the progress, but it was not the religion. In fact, religious institutions have time and again hindered and even prosecuted scientists throughout history. Take, for example, Giordano Bruno. He was an Italian philosopher and mathematician. He was painfully tortured for months and later burned alive to death for challenging the idea that Earth was not the center of the universe. They killed him for asserting that Earth was just another planet, and those little dots of light we see in night sky are other distant suns, which have other planetary worlds like ours. It's crazy when you think about religion, that religion has such a powerful political influence on humans. And a lot of time that's negative. It is dangerous because there are fixed rules in religion, and if you question the authority or even try to question the beliefs, Oh my god, your life is doomed if you live in a religious society. That's the topic for another time. So now we know it's not religion either. So what is it? Here is the answer. Science. Everything you see around you was discovered and invented by someone. It is all built upon knowledge of different generations of scientists, people who were engaged in scientific thinking, hence contributing to every development and advancement of humanity as a whole. They don't have any particular type of identity. They have come from different places, different religions, different cultures, different societies, ages, different genders, different languages, and in different points of time in history. But they all had this one thing in common: scientific thinking. They were all scientifically literate. Now, what is scientific literacy? There are many definitions, but in general, it means that you are aware of what the enterprise of science is and you have an appreciation for how scientific knowledge works and you understand how its applications benefit humanity. In other words, it means that you can understand scientific articles of, let's say, genetic engineering, space technologies, and whatever, with the same ease that you would know about politics, sports, or art, with the same ease. Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's a popular astrophysicist. He explains this in a much simpler way. He says, when I think of science, I think of it as a truly human activity, something fundamental to our DNA, something that drives curiosity. When you are a kid, you are born a scientist. What does a scientist do? He looks up and says, I wonder what that is. Let me go find out. Let me poke it. Let me turn it around. This is what kids do. Kids that can barely walk and talk. What are they doing? They're turning over rocks. They're plucking petals off of rose, taking things apart. They don't sit still. They're always exploring their environment through experimentation. That's what we do as human beings. What do? We prevent that. We prevent these depths of curiosity from revealing themselves, even in our own residences. We spend a year teaching kids how to walk and talk, and the rest of their lives telling them to shut up and sit down. What kind of environment is that? The goal here is not to make everybody a scientist. That is not the goal. You want artists, you want musicians, you want novelists, you want poets, you want rest of us. But what matters is that they are scientifically literate and maintain that literacy throughout their lives, no matter what becomes their profession. People think science literacy is being able to recite facts, and it's not that. It's part of it, but not the main part. The main part is how do you look at the world? What does the world look like through your lens? If you are scientifically literate, then the world looks very different to you. It's not just a lot of mysterious things happening. There's a lot we understand out there. And that understanding empowers you to first, not being taken advantage of by others who know it. And second, there are issues that confront society that has science as their foundation. You cannot look at science and math as separate subjects. It is fundamental to what it means to be alive because it is all around us. It influences your health, your safety, how you're going to vote, what issues are before you politically. If you are not scientifically literate, in a way, you are disenfranchising yourself from the democratic process, and you don't even know it. Now that we know the importance of scientific literacy, let's see how many people in this modern world are actively involved in doing science. This is a very important global human endeavor. So most of us should be involved in doing it right. So the most natural question that follows is this. How many scientists are there in the world? How many people are involved in expanding the human knowledge and revealing the unknown for us? Do you know how many people are research scientists today? Okay, let's guess. 30%? That's probably too unrealistic. Now, what about 25? 20? So 15, 10, 5? That sounds reasonable. Okay, 1 or 2%? Yeah, that seems possible. Now you might say, obviously there are at least 1 or 2% of humanity that is not involved in stupid things. At least 1% of us are intelligent people. Right? No. It is not even 0.1%. It is 0.0001% of the global population. What? It is unbelievable that the most important thing that improves civilization is done by the least amount of people. What are we doing? That's a shame on mankind, and we must do something about it. Now let's see this shameful data country-wise. Let's see. Trust me, you don't want to know that. So the world average is only about 1,438 researchers in R&D per million. Let's start with India, the largest democracy on earth. More than 1.3 billion people, and we only have 253. I'm just as disappointed as you are right now. We cannot even say that we are below average because we are way below average. We are a lower middle income country. What would you expect? Now compare that to the average of other lower middle income countries. We must be doing good in that category, right? Oh, still below average. Now let's talk about our next favorite country, which a lot of Indians are obsessed about. You guessed it right. Italy. Just kidding. Yes, let's see. Well, by the way, Italy is a high income country. So there you go. Here's China. China is not a lower middle income country. It used to be. It's moved from that to middle income country to upper middle income country. Now it's on its way to become high soon. And it has seen one of the highest rates of growth among research scientists and development. China is a big example for us. It proves that putting emphasis on scientific literacy can change the shape of a country within a generation. That's impressive. Now let's have a look at high income countries. So these high income developed countries have on average, wait for it, wait, 4,188. Much higher than us. Here's Hong Kong. It is now in China, but you can see why China loves Hong Kong so much. Here's the famous superpower, USA, Canada, UK, France, Australia, Germany, Switzerland, Japan, Singapore, South Korea, New Zealand, Netherlands, Denmark, Finland, Austria, Norway, Sweden, Israel, 8,342. And it's a decade old data. They must have crossed 10,000 plus. That's clearly one of the most scientifically literate society, advancing at an unprecedented rate. That's a lot more percent of people involved in making impossible things possible. Hence, progress, wealth, power follows. You can see the direct relationship between countries being rich, advanced, and powerful to the number of scientists working in R&D. That's obvious. The more the scientists, the more advanced, powerful, and wealthy those countries are with respect to the population than those with lower numbers. The more people know about science, the more people are excited about. The more excited people are, the more they are encouraged to do science. The more science we do, the more we know. The more we discover, the more we innovate. More inventions and innovations start to happen. Then there are more items for businesses to do businesses with, which boosts the economy. The more kind of work there is, unemployment goes down, and there are more things to trade on Wall Street. Stock market goes up. The country gets richer. You become wealthy. You become healthy. Everybody is happy. Well, not everybody. It is going to be hard for politicians because they would not be able to fool people in voting them for stupid, childish reasons. They will have to up their game like real adults. The point is, all improvement comes from research. No one can deny that. Scientific literacy seems really hard to do with so much fake news and pseudoscience all around us. It is getting harder to catch up to the facts. But scientific literacy is one of the best ways to counter pseudoscience and fake news epidemic, because then you don't have to tell people facts. They will be capable of analyzing the validity of statements by themselves. You can figure out what's actually true or not. That's one of the benefits that scientifically literate society gains. You want more scientific development? You need more scientists. For that, you need more scientific literacy. For that, you need at least basic education. And for basic education, you need literacy. And there are a lot of illiterate people in powerful positions. So you cannot expect literate decisions, and hence you need to wake up. Science is in danger. As we often say in India, scientists khatre mein hai. Scientists are in danger. Scientific literacy is in danger. Even in highly populated India, we have only 74% literacy, which is not good at all. That 74% are not educated. Most of these literate people just know how to read and write their name, no other education. And the remaining 26% of India is officially illiterate. That's about 350 million people who don't even know how to write their own name. So we cannot become an advanced society or even think of becoming the next superpower if we are not even a literate country. Our illiterate population alone is more than France, Canada, Japan, Switzerland, Germany, Australia, UK, and Austria combined. And all of these countries are multi-trillion dollar economies. Japan alone is a $5 trillion economy with only 126 million people. It is not only literate, but one of the most scientifically literate and advanced countries in the world. Germany, $4 trillion, 80 million people also have higher scientific literacy. There are a lot of other factors, but the underlying reason is scientific progress. Not everyone is a scientist there, but there is more percentage of people who are scientifically literate than others. with such a large illiterate population in India, if you compare that with the potential scientific output in terms of GDP of those countries, that's $20 trillion of economy just from the illiterate India alone. That's crazy and an eye-opening perspective. We now know what we should be doing, where our focus should be. Traditional education system is not enough because the system is designed around rigorous academic industrialized curriculum. We need an updated system. I will talk about it in another video. But we must immediately focus on installing scientific literacy in our society. We get all kinds of moral education from parents, uncles, aunties, friends, societies, etc. We have unlimited sources of religious education. There are all kinds of systematic religious institutions who would want to teach you about their God 1,000 times a year. What we are missing is the systematic scientific education. We need a form of system that educates people from all sides in different ways, just like they do for religion, morals, etc. We need normalization of scientific education, something which will make us celebrate science in our everyday lives. It's insane that the single most important thing that directly improves humanity has no training facility for scientific thinking for the general public. We need a robust system that focuses on scientific literacy. It is for our own good. We need it because even the majority of educated people are not scientifically literate. You know, the population, the literate, the educated. It doesn't matter if you are an MBA from IIM. There are a lot of highly educated people who would think in a situation when it gets cold outside, they automatically assume that the planet is not warming. They even tweet it. 10 reasons why it's not. They have no idea about science. They are not even fully aware of their own subject matter. And they are talking about climate change. Scientific literacy is the only way to save the world. It also solves the problem of misunderstanding of facts as well. We need scientific literacy so that if people are not research scientists, they at least know how the world works and what's happening and why. Scientific literacy is in a way an ability to question what's around you. It's to be infused with curiosity about the things you don't know, things you want to figure out, what they are and how they work. It is about how you think. It is about questioning everything. We must focus on it. We need to make science mainstream. We don't want world wars. We don't want hatred. In this modern world, we don't want humanity to remain ignorant. And it is so weird that even today, the most important thing that improves our lives is done by the least amount of people. We need to make this world scientific. We need to make India scientific. Make India a scientific Rashtra, a scientific nation where everyone is at least scientifically literate. And wherever you are in the world, make your country scientific literate first and see the magic of science unfold. It helps us to become aware of pseudoscience laying all around us because there is a lot of nonsense out there. We can access to all kinds of rubbish on the internet instantaneously. For example, if you search for flat earth, you find a lot of people and whole societies who believe in that idea, even when we know it's not true. Beware of such people because on the internet and even in real life, we don't have any filter. There is no bullshit filter that can filter out the information for you. I know it's hard, but we need to work on our science filter so that we can navigate this mess, this untidy nonsense that exist online and in the real life as well. In the upcoming videos, I'll be talking about many of these topics in detail and different practical guides on how you can develop scientific thinking and more. So, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and tell me in the comment section down below. What would you like me to explore more about? Make sure to subscribe and press that bell icon to be notified for the latest and greatest updates. That sounds cliche, but give it a thumbs up. This channel is about science and technology, self-improvement, and living life with scientific thinking as a process. So be curious, be the scientific human, and I will see you.